Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night.
Officials and newsmen at first discounted those eyewitness descriptions as being beyond belief. However, the reports persisted.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
Oh, yeah. That's the music they make right there.
Gracious. Wow, I was not expecting that. Turn down my volume just a little bit on that one. I'm awake, Jesus. I got it.
There we go. I'll turn mine down too. A little bit. Just a little bit.
All good.
What's
Linda.
up, everybody? Welcome to Boogeyman Radio. That's Charles. I'm Dave, and tonight we are talking about sound.
Science and sounds and things.
Listen the sound of silence.
I totally thought you were about to say sound of music, but okay. That works too.
We're not late. We were right on time. You were late.
A wizard is never late. He arrives precisely when he means to.
In fact. Indubitably. Sound. Tonight, we're going to talk about sound and the paranormal. There's a wide scope of topic within the topic to discuss, and we'll be getting into that here in a little bit. Real quick, guys, there's been some cool things going on with the Paracon. I don't know if you noticed it, Charles.
Oh, I noticed. All right.
It's we've incorporated some new things. We have a raffle going off right now, and one of the things that we are raffling off. Why is it not pulling up my picture? Dumb. There it is. One of the things we are raffling off is a ink box from Supernatural Ink. That is one of these here. We have it's going to be signed ink box, signed by Katie Stafford. It's built by Katie. You can get a $5 entry ticket. There's no limit on entries. Purchases can be done through PayPal at that link there, and include your name, email address, and the raffle item, because there's going to be multiple items on the thing. And then your ticket numbers will be emailed to you, and then the drawing will be held on August 20th. So whenever we do the drawing, if you didn't enter your email, I can at least contact you through PayPal. But this one, it's going to be killer. I set it for August 20th. That way it'll be, if you're not present, like online to get the announcement, we can still send it to you. It'll get mailed. Yeah, it'll get mailed to you. And because it's August 20th, that's an entire month ahead of the Paracon. You could bring it and use it on the investigation if you're joining us on the investigation. Or if you've already got one, you could enter the McIntyre Villa. We have a raffle for a chance for you and your friends to join us, or not join us, to ghost hunt at the haunted McIntyre Villa. The tickets on this one are $10 per entry with no limit on entries. All the other information is the same. But winners will be contacted, and then you will set up a date with Stephanie to investigate overnight at the McIntyre Villa for free.
I'll tell y'all,
free
for
raffle
free.
entry.
Tell y'all right now, you don't want to miss that opportunity. McIntyre is one heck of a place. It is a really, really neat place. Really cool history. Highly recommend it.
I'm going to have some more raffle items coming up in the next few days, so be on the lookout for those on Facebook. And next Tuesday, I'll kind of put it out here, too. Tree frog.
Yeah, for sitting there, I was like, I have a tree from in my house. I'm like, hey, sure, if you have a tree growing in your house, hey, no big deal. I ain't judging here. But then I saw the tree frog, and I was like, oh, makes total sense. And what's up, Josh? Good to see you.
But yeah, the Paracon, if you don't know, if you haven't heard, if you're living under a rock, that is coming up this October 7th and 8th. It's going to be held at the Elks Lodge 501 in Joplin, Missouri. I need to update this thing because it's sponsored by the Ectoplasm Show and Route 66.
How dare you?
How dare I? But yeah, that is going on. We have guest speakers, we have concerts, we have psychic gallery readings. Also, we have a ghost hunt of the Route 66 Theater. If you haven't seen the Haunting History episode of the Route 66 Theater, you can go check that out on the Haunting History YouTube channel. I believe it's season 2, where we investigated the theater. I've been there several times. It is haunted. I've had some really outstanding personal experiences there, even if you want to call it this, a partial possession or full-on possession. I don't know. I'd call it partial. I had consciousness and awareness about it.
He knew what was going on.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
So there's 12 spots. I haven't checked today, see if anybody else has bought tickets, but there was 12 spots. We are down to 10 last I checked, and spots are limited. So the tickets are $70. You go on to the Haunting History Paracon.com page, click Get Your Tickets, and then you get your tickets for those. You can get tickets on either day, but it's going to be held on the 8th. And we're going to 3 a.m., so that's...
Can you believe that's like 2 months away?
No.
Isn't that crazy how October is literally 2 months away?
Yeah, it's coming up fast. It really is.
Like this year has flown by.
I've really got to start looking at getting volunteers and stuff like that in line.
Yeah.
I know a couple people that are wanting to volunteer, so.
All right, good.
But
speaking of those gallery readings, so most of the people that have done like readings for me or like peeked into my like spiritual side of things and like, oh yeah, no, I like just like looking and then talk with certain things and try to figure out what's going on in my life, spiritual side. They always come to the conclusion, I can't tell you this right now, but at the right time it'll happen. I always get stuck with that. Literally every single time. And obviously there's no like, I'm not telling people what to say. Like, I'm not leading people as to go to that conclusion. That's usually where it ends. And it's just like, why. I can't tell you these things. Your guides are telling me not to say anything. It's just, it cuts off cold turkey and you have to figure everything out. And I'm just like, where do I even start? Where do I even begin? I don't know where to start to find the end. You know what I mean? Like, I've done a bunch of, meditation and going out to the woods, like trying to center myself and being in water and like all these, I went and saw psychic therapy for a while and nothing, that did help a little bit with certain things. But anyways,
right.
Like, come on, I'm curious. I need some answers, damn it.
So
this will be good.
I wonder why they do that.
I don't know.
But yeah, the psychic gallery reading, if you want to attend that, that's like $10. That's separate. Like, it's $10, and I mean,
I'm so going to attend that.
There's only I think 25 tickets available for that.
Yeah, I'm so going to that.
So it won't be a huge crowd.
Is that Saturday?
That's on Friday night.
Friday night, cool.
Yep.
Is there anything going on Friday night? What's the Friday night stuff besides the gallery reading?
Just the gallery reading.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if there was like a different, because the ghost hunting Saturday night.
Yeah, the ghost hunting is Saturday night. The concert is also on Saturday night.
Okay.
So,
the concert will be full. Man, we're gonna be all rocked out. We're gonna be all like.
Well, the concert goes to midnight, or almost midnight. Yeah, Josh Hurd starts at 8. I think I gave him an hour to an hour and a half, and then Randall Shreve will be playing. Actually, no, I think it ends at 11.
The concert ends at 11?
I think so.
So
I have to look at my times again.
What was the investigation? 10 to midnight? Or sorry, 10 to 3?
Yeah.
So whoever goes to that will miss an hour of the performance.
Pretty much.
Okay. That's okay. How far is Webb City from Joplin?
The theater's probably 15 to 20 minutes away from
that's nothing.
the thing. Yeah, the venue.
That's nothing.
So, yeah, it'll be a good one.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm so pumped, dude. Like, that's going to be a good long 2.5 weeks for me off work, so I'm really excited.
You're going to be worn out.
I'm so freaking ready. Going back to work, I'm just like, I had a long 2.5 weeks.
Right.
But, yeah.
So how was your weekend?
My weekend was really good. I was off Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and today. So I had a nice 4-day weekend. It was great.
Good breather.
Yes, it was a very much needed, nice breather. This week is going to be insane, so that's why I took the weekend off. We're having our men's guest big. It's our big tournament, and we're just. It's going to be nonstop. Tomorrow I work 9:30 to 6, and then the next day I work 3 to like midnight, and then the next day I work from 11:30 to 6, and then the next day I work from like 3 to 2 a.m. So it's gonna be great. It's a big tournament. Yes, no, 100,000%. Like
Yeah.
it's a thing. So it's gonna be a good week. I'm
Good.
very excited for this week.
Good deal.
How about you? What was happening this week? I saw some cute videos of someone fishing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was adorable.
Took her fishing yesterday. Took her fishing today, and she didn't catch anything yesterday. Didn't even get a bite. She got a bite today.
Nice.
But we had fun. She learned how to cast and all that. It's the first time.
Good.
She was a natural. I'm telling you, she was a natural. I paid off my car today or yesterday. No more payments.
Exciting. No,
Yes.
Thank God.
It's very exciting because now I can start saving money.
Yeah, I got 2 more years for that. Yay!
Yeah, I had quite a bit left, and I was saving up a little bit of money, and I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm just gonna pay this off now and just be done with it.
Makes sense.
So
Why not?
I just loaded up on money and threw it at them, and apparently
Take
they
my
have
money.
a second key.
They had a second key?
They've got a second key, so I have to go up to Neosho to get it. Go to another town to get the key and I guess some paperwork or whatever.
I've
But
thought about getting another key made for my car because I only got one, and just in case emergencies happen.
Ew.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a good weekend. Been a good
Good.
weekend.
Awesome, man. Glad to hear it.
I'm ready to dive into tonight's subject.
Me too. Let's get in it. Let's get in it.
We
All
should-
of
we
it.
should- I wish we had like a little screen thing that goes tonight's subject.
Sometime. That'll be a thing in the future.
Yes. I'll create one. I gotta go back on my notes here. I've got like a ton of notes.
This guy came prepared.
Oh, you know what's funny about my notes is I'm scatterbrained about the subject up here, and my notes are scatterbrained as well. Like they're all over the place. So,
That happens.
so let's start off with this. How important is sound? Very important.
100%.
So when we look at sound, sound is used throughout religion, throughout life, throughout nature. I mean, everywhere you look, sound is utilized. In fact, the Big Bang, its name is a sound. Right?
If that was true, yes.
If the Big Bang is true, it started with a sound. In the Bible, it says that
beginning.
God created the world with a spoken word, that
Yep.
being a sound. But sound also has vibration, it has frequency. In ancient Indian texts, the universe itself was created with a single note. And that note being Om. Om. And it's not OHM, not that Om. It's AUM. Om.
Yeah.
It's vibration. In fact, let me pull up my other notes. So I've got notes on here. I've got notes here, and I got notes over there. So I forgot about pulling these ones up. You guys are gonna learn a lot, I think.
I'm ready. I'm going to learn a lot, dude. Like, are you kidding?
This eventually does wind into like the paranormal guys. I promise you.
No, it doesn't. I'm kidding. It's fine.
So let's talk about Om. So from the dead language of ancient India, Om is composed of 3 Sanskrit letters. Each letter symbolizes the cyclical nature of nature itself, as a movement from birth to death. Of its 3 syllables, it has 4 parts. A, representing the beginning of life, or beginning of a life cycle, and the impetus of creativity. U, representing the middle of a life cycle and the sustaining of it. M, representing the end of a life cycle and the destruction of it. and a silent pause where sound itself dissolves into space before the cycle begins again. So think about like as you're taking the breath in and you start with Om,
That
that
pause.
breath in, that pause is in between your breaths.
Mm.
But let's go back to that original sound of the world. In Hindu cosmetology, Om is a bija mantra or sacred seed sound, which created all other sounds and vibrations in our universe. Om was the original vibration that rippled through pure enlightened awareness, creating the complicated and intricate patterns of our individual consciousness. The Vedas describe this sound as the unmanifested state of or Brahman, sorry, that later became countless variations of material and metaphysical life. Basically stating that it's all matter, all material in this world, the universe, everything is all created out of sound. It was all created from sound. Interestingly, though, there's some shared idea about this between the Hindi worldview and contemporary quantum physics, i.e., string theory. The sound Om, when chanted, vibrates at the frequency of 432 hertz. Excuse me. Which is the same vibrational frequency found throughout everything in nature.
Wow.
As such, Om is the basic sound of the universe, so by chanting it, we are symbolically and physically acknowledging our connection to nature and all other living beings. This practice of the mantra is used in Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, Hinduism, and in Vedas. So it's interesting to think how these religions, the Vedas, how did they know?
It's
You
like
know?
it's like just something that's second nature, right?
Yeah, like everything in nature has this frequency, and if everything has the same vibrational frequency, how did they know what that frequency is, the pitch to do their mantra and
Yeah.
all that, the chants? That's crazy to me.
I would
to
say
think about.
years of teaching and passing it down, and people coming in contact with others, and they probably just figured it out that it works, and so they just keep it going.
To say who taught them that?
Well, who taught them how to build the pyramids, Dave?
Same people who taught them about the sound.
I mean, are you going to mention the Crystal Castle?
No, I wasn't. You can do that.
Maybe. We'll talk about it here in a minute.
So, something that I found interesting. I'm going to be jumping all over the map here, guys, so please bear with me. Something that I did find interesting about the acoustics were the mandalas. And this is something that these ancient religions knew about. And there's stuff in this that I was kind of surprised at learning. So a mandala is a geometric configuration of symbols. In various spiritual traditions, mandalas may be employed for focusing attention of practitioners and adepts as a spiritual guidance tool for establishing a sacred space and as an aid to meditation and trance induction. You want to throw up a picture of one of the mandalas?
Yeah, absolutely. Grab that real quick.
So mandalas originate in India from Vedic, Buddhist, Jain spiritual traditions. This is an example of one. And they've been used for thousands of years. When you go to most Indian temples in India, you will find mandalas. When Buddhism was exported to the rest of Asia, including Tibet, mandalas were also exported within art and tantric traditions. Mandalas are also associated with Tibet, the heart of Buddhism. The spiritual goal of Tibetans is enlightenment, stepping out of the suffering connected to the cycle of rebirthing and arriving into a state of perfect balance and beauty. In order to achieve this, it is necessary to surrender all worldly desires and the ego. Mandalas, traditional instruments of visual meditation, can help us with this process. They bring us understanding of the self and of the universe around us. The creation of Tibetan mandalas, symbolizing the perfect balance of harmony, has to follow very strict rules. They are depicted as rectangular images on rolling cloths, showing Buddha's completion of the life cycle, spiritual guides, or circular meditative mandalas, which represent the journey towards enlightenment. The journey to the core of mandala, however, the highest form of Tibetan mandala depiction in the physical world, is the sand picture. And a lot of times they use colored powders. Show up another one of the images there.
Yeah.
One thing you'll notice with these mandalas is the center. They all have a center point. If you go back to that other one you showed, it too has a central point. The reason for this is basically, as I said earlier, it was said that it was spoken with one tone that created the universe. So that one tone is the center of the universe, basically, a sound. So when you're the center point and you are creating your sound, you're basically radiating this frequency and creating a mandala. And this is something that has scientifically been proven, and we'll get into that a little bit and show an example of the science behind it. But mandalas, this is what threw me off. Mandalas anymore are not just a Buddhist, Hindu, what have you, religious piece. It's even in Christianity. Mandalas have traveled the world. They are in various religions now. So Christian mandalas can be seen in rotundas and in the architecture of churches, which are oriented to the east, to the place of resurrection of Jesus Christ. Circle patterns in Christian tradition can also be found in rosette windows, in the circular labyrinths on cathedral floors, and on the domes decorating various houses of God. Rosette windows are usually made from colored glass, which has been produced by using crushed gemstones. Thanks to this, the light that passes through the window gets dispersed but absorbed at the same time. That is why such windows attract our attention. They make us focus into their very center, which works as a meditative tool, the tool for contemplation with God and the very self. So from that right there, you're seeing like the influence of these earlier traditions being incorporated into Christianity. The rosette may become not only a map of all the universe, but of our inner mental world as well. The predominant color of rosette windows is red and blue, warm and cold, which together create purple, the sacred color, the color of spirituality and the journey into the core of the self. Just like a prayer in the chapel, monastery gardens also uplift the spirit. Gardens are a meeting place of nature and God, a space of peace and quiet contemplation. Some have bush labyrinths symbolizing pilgrim's journey of self-discovery, the journey of finding God. So these mandalas, this ancient knowledge of sound, has made its way throughout the world, basically.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's see here. And another example of all these religions using sound, if you've noticed, like all religions use music in their worship services, like chants, cries, hymns. You think
speaking in tongues.
Speaking in tongues. You think of
Holy
if you
rollers.
think of like some of these grand Catholic cathedrals and the choirs when they're in there, the sound is like
the choir and the organ and all that stuff. Just the pipe organs are fantastic.
So, and this is another. Um,
Which, I mean, sorry, it kind of makes you think why organs would be better than just playing a piano, because the organs, the sound carries much farther and like not heavier, but it's not quick like a piano where it's like king.
Yeah.
It's more of like that. Those organs carry through those pipes, so it just makes sense.
and there's some of the buildings where they included the pipes in the architecture,
Yeah,
so it would reverberate throughout the building.
those acoustics be fine.
And that's something, again, that is taken from the ancient times, which would be architectural space, allowing for the reverberation of key acoustic pitches and vibrations.
Yep.
So, are you familiar with archaeoacoustics?
No.
Okay, so this is a new thing, semi-new. It's basically the study of acoustics and historical archaeological
That's
sites.
cool.
And one of the examples that I had read about was Stonehenge,
Oh,
of all
okay.
places. I thought this was pretty amazing. So Stonehenge kind of acts as a sonic temple. There's a theory out there that the practitioners would go to Stonehenge. They would have a certain person in the center of the monument and create low frequencies. So when he would create these low frequencies, the sound would be contained within the stones.
Oh, that's cool.
And they said that it could possibly be building up energy.
Whoa.
Yeah. The purpose of this is still unknown. But I got to thinking about it. If you had an aerial view of Stonehenge, just picture this in your mind.
Yeah.
An aerial view of Stonehenge, and you have the person in the center creating a sound, a resonance, and sound bouncing around within Stonehenge. Would that create a mandala?
Okay, the thing is though, are they pointing in a certain direction, bouncing it off of one stone and then bouncing it off another? Like,
I don't know.
unless they were like shouting at the ground and it was bounding, like just whoosh, like that, or just shouting upwards. I don't know. So something else that makes me think too is you have a bunch of these ancient structures with certain types of like minerals and like crystals all found like in the ground. All these minerals are connected throughout and it almost looks like a power grid.
Yeah.
If you think about it. So if they were able to centralize an area where sound, if they were able to centralize an area and then maybe power it up with sound, that could essentially be like just a connected power hub.
Which brings me to another point. And I know what everybody's going to think, like, oh my God, you've been watching too much TV. Vimanas.
Oh yeah, the flying air machines. What's up,
Yeah.
Lori?
Yeah, the Vimanas, that's pretty much what it's called, like it translates to is flying machine. It was written about in ancient texts.
Yeah.
And in those ancient texts, they said that gods came down from the sky in these Vimanas. So there's a temple.
What was the civilization that came up with Vimanas?
It's the hang on a second. I know it.
Not the Hindu is no.
It was written in script. Vedas, in the Vedas.
It was written in the Vedas.
Yes, which is basically India, Hindu. Buddhism. So there's this temple that's in India. There are carvings of these Vimanas, like on all the pillars.
They look like spaceships.
And on the bottom of them, carved on the very bottom, are specific mandalas. And it is said, since these mandalas are the basically thumbprint of frequencies, could that be a particular frequency that was propelling these Vimanas?
That's a very good point.
And the reason
I didn't think about that.
The reason I bring that up, so in March of 2019, at Columbia University in New York, I'm trying to think. I can't think of the.
What if wouldn't that be the language of sounds?
Basically,
mandalas. Wouldn't that?
I would think of it as a thumbprint.
Yeah, it's you could figure out what, like, instead of just hearing the sound, you could see the sound.
You know, before I get into this, I should kind of play this video for everybody. It's about a 3-minute video, but through time, especially I think it was back in the 60s or 70s, there was, well, actually, if you really want to get into it, there was a Greek philosopher who originated our style of math, you know, using to the tens, 1 through 10, 20, 30, 40, that kind of thing. He invented that math and also created music by using math and sound, and which all this kind of leads to, I mean, music leads back to math, because you have eighth notes, quarter notes, fifth, you know, and octaves. You use sounds, but he kind of came up with the idea that sound has design, and that's where people started noticing the mandalas. They started exploring the Indian religions, but in the 60s and 70s, they were able to create these mandalas using sound.
Yeah.
And basically what they did is they had this plate that they would sprinkle sand on, and underneath it would be a speaker, and they would generate frequencies. And what they noticed was at certain frequencies, the sand would separate and create these patterns.
Yeah.
And it would change with every frequency. And I'm just going to show you a video, guys. It's about 3 minutes long, of what this looks like. It's actually pretty interesting, and people are making art out of this now. So. Real quick, I just want to say that on each one, the frequencies are getting higher.
experiment I would do is play multiple different frequencies going into one.
Okay,
And
we'll
see
get
what
into
that
that
would look like.
We'll
I
get
would
into
love
that.
to see that.
because that's where the binaural beats come in.
Good, because that stuff's really... So, real quick, I just want to like kind of put it in perspective. We're literally seeing the physical representation of sound.
Yes.
Not just hearing. We can physically see what sound looks like.
Yes.
That's amazing. Because sound doesn't have matter until you put matter with it, which is what was happening there with that experiment, right?
Well, funny you say that.
Okay.
So,
I mean, it's energy, so it's going to have some sort of matter, but you just can't physically see it.
well, in March of 2019 at Columbia University in New York, I'm trying to think of the name of the paper. It was the gravitational mass carried by sound waves. Is the name of the paper. Quantum interaction and sound interaction is called phonon and photon interaction. Phonon is the word for a particle for sound.
Okay.
That's what a particle of sound for sound is called.
Yeah.
Phonon. They discovered that sound can trigger a negative mass effect.
Negative mass effect?
Negative mass effect. So what they tested and they started discovering was phonons were affected by gravity. But it wasn't the way they thought it was going to go.
I know where you're going with this.
So instead of being forced downwards, so like with gravity, everything would be forced down. Instead of being forced downwards towards the Earth, phonons actually rise upward. So scientists discovered that phonons had negative mass
Anti-gravity.
and negative gravity. Certain sound waves actually rise instead of falling. So like instead of seeing the sound wave just kind of go like this and kind of fall, some sound waves will just travel and then go up.
Which, that kind of makes me think, what that makes me think of is fire. Flames go up. Heat rises.
Now go back to what we were talking about with the Vimanas, where some of them had the mandalas on the bottom, carved at the bottom of the Vimanas.
Yeah.
So the sound frequency would have been one of negative gravity, giving it propulsion.
Huh.
Yeah. You learn something every day.
This is something that I've been wanting to, like, something like this, because this also gets into magnetism and, like, that, which I'll touch with the Coral Castle, because I think I know exactly where you're going with this.
Okay. Let me mark off the parts that I brought up here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so when we were talking about like archaeoacoustics, some of these archaeological sites, the thought process was to create communication with otherworldly beings. A lot of these practitioners were usually like shamans. Think of shamans.
Yep.
In different cultures, the shamans were members who could connect and communicate through chance and altered states of consciousness with these otherworldly beings or gods or what have you. And then to do so, they would build resonance chambers, which were used as like religious or spiritual practice, where they would go do these chants or practice these traditions and connect with the other side. That I'll go into in a second. Like I said, my stuff is scattered.
It's scattered.
Let me make sure that's all on this page here. Okay, so what you guys saw in the video is called cymatics. It's the study of visible sound and vibration. The term was coined by Hans Jenny in he died in 1972. He was a physician and a natural scientist. That plate is called a Clandai plate. Uses the rice or sand to emit sound or to create the mandalas.
I wish more people would study sound.
So you gotta, this is kind of a paranormal show. So how do these sounds and vibrations come into the whole paranormal thing outside of the ancient alien thing, right? Because we did talk about the Vimanas, right? So I know a lot of you would rather hear about how it affects like ghost hunting and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sure they're getting pretty bored of our science talk.
Damn science nerds with your damn
Nerd.
science. So I know you had some stuff you wanted to throw in there. So if you want to throw it in there,
Yeah, real quick.
I'll
Yeah. So, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Coral Castle. So, some think that this gentleman, he built something called the Coral Castle, and his name is Edward Leedschalinin. I
Scissorhands.
butcher that. Yeah, it's horrible. So, Edward had claimed that he knew the secrets of those who built the pyramids. And he also claimed that these stones that he picked up by himself, by the way, and he built this place by himself, he claimed he used everyday tools from, I think, a junkyard or a scrapyard or whatever it was. So the fact that he admitted all that and it kind of just talked about it, I still don't know how he was able to lift 1,000 tons of coral in this, like in a span of 28 years, using basic tools. So I'm gonna share this website, and we'll kind of show you what some of the blocks look like and stuff like that. But just think about this dude just lifting all these blocks up on his own.
Yeah, this is something Spurrier and I have talked about, and Spurrier kind of has, I think, if I'm correct, has a connection to this.
So, with that being said, think about all these blocks. How do you get those blocks up there? He didn't use cranes. He didn't use heavy machinery. It was just him. Some think he may have carved it on the spot. It was all moved there by night. No. Some think it was aliens. No.
No.
I think this guy literally figured out how to manipulate sound, or how to use sound to manipulate these heavy stones. Because what Dave just referred to, where they figured out how to make a stone, or how to
sound has negative mass and negative gravity.
Yeah, negative mass, negative gravity. So they basically figured out how to flip gravity and make anti-gravity. So if you can emit sound into this block and into this, like, it was said that he had like cones or something that he would touch the stones with, and it would lift it up like weightless. Like he would just like lift it up like a cup or something in his hand.
Think about this: if he's using cones, what's a good projectile? How to project your voice using a cone?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So somehow he emitted some noise, and there was some box too that he carried with him that emitted, that supposedly is what emitted this sound.
Yeah.
And it made the stone weightless. Holy cow! Like this, and this was back in. Let me figure out here what.
And if I'm correct, nobody knows what happened to that box.
Oh yeah, none of his technology. Nobody knows. No idea. It started around 1912, so the early 1900s. He was fascinated with Nikola Tesla. And he also had a fascination about electromagnetism and currents flowing through the body. So he actually healed himself from tuberculosis, too. So the fact that he figured out like energy studies through his body and healed himself from his tuberculosis, and then did this, that says a lot.
I can see his fascination with Nikola Tesla, because Nikola Tesla also stated that we need to start paying attention to sound waves and vibration.
Yes. Like, why? I don't know why. So do you think that like people are out there doing these studies, it just gets heavily suppressed?
I think it does. Well, I don't think it gets heavily suppressed. I do think there is some suppression, but there's still a lot of studies out there that are happening on an individual level.
Yeah.
If you think about people that do psychic research, astral projection,
True.
Spirit communication, alien communication, things of that nature. I mean, all of that can be done at your own home. It's just through meditation. Yeah. So, I mean,
like just imagine if we had the key to have anti-gravity to make any object weightless. Whoa.
So We got 15 minutes.
That's pretty much what I wanted to touch on. So if you ever get the chance to actually deep dive into this place, highly recommend it. Go check it out. It's really cool.
I think I'm going to save the binaural beats thing for the After Dark, because there's an interesting story about a guy who was actually he was working with the CIA all the way through 9/11 as a remote viewer. And he was talking about how they use binaural beats to do this. And we'll talk about that on the After Dark, the binaural beats. But I know a lot of you are probably wondering about ghost hunting. So if you take in all this information, and I think mechanical resonance is something that has to do with like the paranormal thing.
Yeah.
Since everything has a vibration, which could mean a quote unquote consciousness. If we were able to connect and manipulate specific vibrations, then we can alter the universe. Quantum physics has said theoretically that we could alter our own, surroundings with our mind. And I think that goes in with vibration. As far as ghost hunting, if you think about it like this, personal experiences such as like sightings, auditory, physical movement, all of that occurs when our frequencies connect or align with said entity or action. So if we're connecting with whatever frequency an entity used to move a chair, if we're connected with that, we're going to experience the movement of that chair.
Yeah.
Or if we hear a voice, we're either calm or we're not calm, and we've just happened to be on that same wavelength as that entity to hear it. Our vibration casts out certain frequencies when we are in various emotional states. And I mean, I think.
So what if the spirits tap into our frequency instead of?
I think
us?
It goes both ways.
Okay.
I think it can go both ways. And actually, we've talked about how I seem to experience a lot of stuff.
I was gonna say, which makes sense why I don't experience certain things, but freaking guy over here does.
So, I'm gonna play an audio clip from this last time I was over at Garnett 2 weeks ago. At one point in the night, this was after the Spirit Realm Network finished their live stream and everything. I went upstairs by myself, sat in a chair, and I mellowed out. And this is kind of an example of what I do when I go, if I really want to make contact.
Man.
I mellow out, and you'll be able to tell by the tone of my voice that I'm chill. I think whenever I do that, I seem to resonate with an entity's vibration.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play the first clip. The first clip, you're going to hear me say a couple things, and then you'll hear something, and you'll hear me respond to it.
Yeah.
And then I'll play the second clip, which has the entity a little bit louder, or the voice.
Real quick, though.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty crazy that a lot of teams don't physically show this sort of thing on like with video camera or anything, where that like them just like taking a second, chilling down, like and just like zoning or whatever, like getting in the headspace. They're more concentrated on the technology, getting questions answered. Yeah. Like they're more focused. The lights to light up? Yeah, exactly. Like they're more focused in the moment of trying to get the ghost to do something instead of just soaking in the atmosphere.
Right.
And this is something that I've been wanting to. Like I've done it before at other places, and it always seems to work. Mm-hmm. Where you start to notice more things. Yeah. But I just haven't. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right.
So yeah. So this is like if you think back, like when we did the cemetery, or when we were at the Crescent Hotel, how calm I was throughout the entire process, but I was still hearing stuff. This is kind of an example of it. I'll play the first clip. It's unedited. It's unedited. Just cut. The second clip, I raised the part where you hear the voice.
That explains so much about one of my first biggest things. Anyways.
Can you feel heat and cold? Hey. I heard you.
It literally said,
Where are you?
Yeah. So right after that happened,
It just
Yeah.
goes, like,
So-
good God.
as I was doing this, I had headphones in, plugged into my recorder, so I could hear everything. I was just calm and relaxed in the chair, just talking, like anybody else, just hanging out. So after I hear this hey, I ended up hearing a couple footsteps, and then the damnedest thing, I talked about it last week. I felt like a wave of energy coursing through my body, like waves, like
Yeah.
like just energy. I'd never felt that before there. Like I felt it in my chest, my arms, my legs, my
Something
fingers.
walk through you.
I think it was making contact.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the clip again, but there's going to be the audio for the hey part is amplified,
Okay.
just so you guys can hear it. But yeah, there it is again.
Can you feel heat and cold? Hey. I heard you.
So that's just an example, a recent example that I could give of like the importance of trying to connect with a location. We
Yeah.
discussed every place, everything has a frequency, a vibration. You just got to get attuned with that. You got to get in line with that.
So I'll talk about real quick. I think I did this unknowingly, well before I knew about like frequencies, sounds, all that kind of stuff. So this is like way back from my early years of investigating. A friend of mine had a place. They said it was haunted by this little girl named Minnie. Okay. And her daughter had claimed multiple times that she could see Minnie, and then that her friends had seen her once or twice before. So I think it was the second time that we were investigating. We were doing some stuff, and we were getting activity, and then after a while it stopped. And I'll just go ahead and say it. I know some people don't like it, but it was the flashlight trick where you screw on the light But here's the thing: there was a difference in the activity that we were getting with that flashlight than how the way we would react, or the way that it would work with us compared to what it was doing, was vastly different. So what we were when we would touch it, the light would flicker, like on and off. Just the slightest touch from us, the light would just constantly flicker with the touch of the vibration. When it was going off by itself, it was a dimming effect, on and off. Like it wasn't flickering, it wasn't like pulsating, it was just turn on, it would stay on for a while, it would dim off, we'd ask it to turn it back on, very shortly after it'd turn back on, it'd be on for a while, and then we'd ask it to turn off, and it would turn off again. So anyways, this was a whole different experience that I've ever had with any flashlight trick I've done since then. So after that flashlight trick, everything had calmed down, the light was off. My friend's daughter was laying down in her bed. We were in her room. She was passed out. I was on the opposite side of the room on a different bed. And my other investigators were like, hey, we're going to go take a break. Nothing's happening. She's passed out. We're just going to go relax. I'm like, all right, cool. Sounds good. I'll just wait in here and see if anything happens, because I was curious. So about 5 minutes goes by, and I'm just kind of looking around the room. My eyes start to get really heavy. So I'm starting to relax more and come down, and I'm getting into a sense where I almost fall asleep. My eyes are getting really heavy, and I almost fall asleep in that lowering of my vibration. Flashlight turns on immediately. Nobody moved, nobody bumped anything, it just turns on, nobody's close to it. And I think to myself, okay. I say out loud, I was like, Minnie, if you're here, I would love to see you. I'm totally open, and like, if you want to show yourself, I'm open and I won't freak out. Just put my intentions out there. I kind of look around the room, do one of these, and as I look to the left, which is where my friend's bed is, and I look under, like, I look down, and I go like this, and in that first look, I see what they called Minnie underneath the bed, but by the time that I look and go like that double take, she's gone. Just gone. I'm like, well, thank you. I'm really glad you showed yourself. It was really cool. That was my first, like, ever since, that was my first experience outside of the house that I grew up in, of seeing something that wasn't supposed to be there.
So I'm going to get into this for a second. So when people meditate, they generally get to 5 hertz.
Yeah.
That 5 hertz is the equivalent of being in a dream state as you're sleeping.
Okay.
So when it's said, when spirits communicate with the living, it's easier for them to do that while you're sleeping. So as you were getting closer to a sleeping state,
my mind was...
Yes. So our minds will run at a higher frequency, right?
Yeah,
it'll automatically, and this kind of goes into the binaural beats, which we'll talk about on the After Dark. Your mind runs at a higher frequency, but when you start going into a relaxed state, your pulse drops, your blood pressure drops, your mind slows down, everything slows down to the 5 hertz. And you get relaxed, you get it comfortable, you start, So
that gives me chills, dude. So I was unknowingly doing something, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Wow.
Science. This is just the science behind that.
That's awesome.
This is why whenever I, kind of relax at an investigation and if I get quiet, I'm lowering my heart rate, lowering everything, just trying to.
That makes so much sense why I would see so much stuff at the house that I grew up in, because it was usually either as I was going to bed or waking up from sleep. That makes so much sense. Holy cow.
Now the binaural beats is a scientific way of actually creating these.
Yes, I've meditated with binaural beats quite a bit. I thoroughly enjoy them.
So if you guys want to join us over on the Patreon page, it's patreon.com/Boogeyman Radio. Just sign up. Right now is a good time. It's the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
And it only costs less.
It's cheap.
Less than a gallon of gas.
Even since it's been lowered.
It's still, even since.
Oh, we're saving 15 cents on gas. No, the gas is still $2 higher than what it was. Don't let them cheat you out, okay?
Exactly. There's a lot more to discuss with this and its connection with the paranormal. And I think you guys are going to, if you're coming over to the After Dark show, you're going to enjoy this binaural beats thing.
I'm loving this so far. I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah, that's a window into, I guess, my investigating style and a window into, I think, maybe gives you an option or something to try when you're on your next investigation. Just go relax. This is why I always say, like, don't go in angry. You're raising your vibration. You're raising your frequencies. You're not going to align. Also, and that's another thing. If you're just joking around and laughing, having a good time,
constant chatter. Oh my god!
Again, you've changed your frequency, and you are technically a little more relaxed than you would be if you were angry or if you were scared. That's another thing. Being scared, that's a whole different frequency. It's usually a faster frequency. Your heart beats faster and everything.
True. No spirit wants to interact with people who are scared.
Maybe negative entities. I don't know.
Maybe negative people.
There's no science behind all that, but
true.
But yeah, thank you guys for joining us tonight. If you want to catch more, again, patreon.com/Boogeyman Radio is where you can find us. At 9:15, we'll be over there. So,
Bye, everybody.
have a good night.